What would you do if your aunt's affair got exposed during a family vacation? So, this all went down a few months ago, but it's been eating me alive and I finally need to get it off my chest. For context, my family decided to do this big bonding trip to the Canary Islands. My mom was super hyped about it, saying it was the first time in years all of us would be together without work stress or excuses. It sounded great until it wasn't. The group was me, my mom, my aunt Avery, her youngest sister, Avery's husband David, my cousin Lucas, and my grandma who was just happy to be sitting by the pool with cocktails. At first, everything felt normal. We were staying in this villa near the beach, the kind with white walls, a little balcony that overlooked the ocean, and a shed pool that sparkled under the sun. Day one was all about settling in, grocery shopping, and arguing over who got which room. But here's where it got weird. On day two, I noticed Avery sneaking out early in the morning, way before breakfast. I figured she was going for a jog or something, but when I casually asked, she brushed it off with this awkward laugh and said, "Just needed some air." No big deal. Except it kept happening. Then, one afternoon, while everyone was lounging around, I went to grab my beach towel from the balcony. From there, I could see Avery on the street below, but she wasn't alone. She was with some random guy, not David. They weren't just talking either. They were way too close, like leaning in, hands brushing, this vibe you could feel even from a distance. I froze because my brain was like, no way, no freaking way my aunt is doing this on a family vacation. I didn't say anything right away. I kept watching as she gave this guy a quick kiss before slipping back inside the villa like nothing happened. I felt sick. My stomach was twisting because David is honestly one of the nicest people I know. He's always been that chill, dependable uncle figure who takes care of everyone. And here was Avery sneaking around under his nose. At dinner that night, I couldn't even look at her. She was sitting there laughing, pouring wine, acting like the perfect hostess, while I replayed that balcony scene in my head. My mum noticed I was quiet and asked, "Vic, you okay?" I just nodded, but inside I was screaming. Later, Lucas, my cousin, Avery, pulled me aside when we were cleaning up dishes and said, "Why are you glaring at my mom like she stole your wallet?" I panicked and just muttered something about being tired. But I swear I didn't fully buy it. The tension built over the next couple days. Avery kept disappearing, making excuses like I need to check out the shops or going for a swim, and David, bless his heart, believed her every time. Meanwhile, I was stuck with this secret, feeling like I was watching a car crash in slow motion. And then the moment came where it all exploded. By day 4, I was at my breaking point. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't see what I saw. The guilt was chewing me up, and every time David smiled at Avery like she was his whole world, I wanted to scream. That morning, Avery pulled her usual "I'm going for a walk" excuse. I made up my mind to follow her. I know it sounds dramatic, but I had to know the truth. Maybe I'd just read the balcony scene, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. I trailed behind her through the narrow cobblestone streets, trying to look like I was just another tourist wandering around. She turned a corner and went into this little cafe near the beach. I peeked through the window, and sure enough, the same guy from before was already there waiting. He leaned across the table, touched her hand, and they started whispering like they were teenagers sneaking around. Then he kissed her. Full on. Right there in broad daylight. My heart dropped. This wasn't some innocent flirtation, it was an affair. On vacation. With her husband and son just a few blocks away. I backed away before they saw me, feeling like I might throw up. All I could think was, how the hell do I handle this? Do I tell David? Do I confront Avery? Do I just keep quiet and let the circus implode on its own? That night, things got tense at dinner. Avery came back from her walk glowing, cheeks flushed, acting all cheerful. I swear she even hummed while setting the table. I couldn't take it anymore. When David went to grab more wine, I snapped at her under my breath. "Me, really, Avery? The vacation fling, with your husband sitting right there?" Her face went white, then red. She hissed back, "Lower your voice, Victoria." "Me, don't tell me what to do. I saw you, twice. This is disgusting." She leaned closer, her smile frozen for everyone else's sake, and whispered, "If you say one word, you'll regret it. Don't you dare ruin this trip." I pulled back like she slapped me. That was it, no denial, no excuse, just a threat. Of course, my mom noticed something was off. "What's going on?" she asked, glancing between us. I mumbled nothing, but Avery gave me this death glare like she was daring me to open my mouth. The rest of the evening was unbearable. Every laugh Avery forced sounded fake to me, every look David gave her made my chest ache with guilt. Lucas kept asking why I was being so moody. By the time I went to bed, I was shaking with rage and anxiety. I knew I couldn't sit on this secret much longer. It was only a matter of time before something slipped, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I'd be the one to spill it or if fate would. And, well, fate decided to move faster than I expected. Their fate moment came on the 5th day of the trip. We had planned this big family outing to the beach, umbrellas, a cooler packed with drinks, Grandma happily in her giant sun hat. It should have been one of those perfect postcard days. But instead, it turned into the start of a nightmare. Everything was fine at first. Lucas and I were tossing a frisbee, David was building a sandcastle with Grandma, yes, he's that sweet, and my mom was snapping pictures of the waves. Avery, of course, disappeared again, claiming she forgot her sunscreen and had to run back to the villa. About an hour later, I saw her. Not walking back just a bit further down the beach. With him. The mystery guy. And they weren't even subtle this time. They were lying on a towel together, laughing, her hand resting on his chest like they were a couple on honeymoon. I froze mid-throw, and the frisbee just smacked into the sand. Lucas noticed my reaction and followed my gaze. His jaw literally dropped. "Lucas, is that my mom?" "Me, Lucas, don't you?" But it was too late. He stormed off toward them, sand flying everywhere. I chased after him, my heart pounding. By the time we got close, Avery had already sat up, panicked, trying to shove the guy's hand away. Lucas was livid. Lucas, what the hell is this, Mom? Who is he? Avery, Lucas, calm down. It's not what it looks like. Lucas, not what it looks like. You're on vacation with Dad, with Grandma, and you're rolling around with some random guy. Her voice shook as she tried to spin excuses, but the damage was done. People on the beach were staring. The guy looked like he wanted to sink into the sand. And then, of course, David showed up. I swear I'll never forget his face. He was carrying a water bottle, looking confused, and then he saw Avery sitting there with another man. He didn't even say anything at first. Just stared. Like his brain couldn't compute what he was seeing. Finally, in this quiet, broken voice, he said, Avery, who is he? That was the crack in the dam. Avery started stammering, trying to grab David's arm, saying, It's nothing, it's just a friend. But David pulled away like her touch burned. My mom rushed over, shouting, What's going on here? While Grandma just sat frozen under her sun hat, wide-eyed. Meanwhile, Lucas looked like he was about to explode. And me? I felt this horrible mix of relief and dread. Relief that the secret wasn't mine to keep anymore, just because I knew the fallout would be nuclear. David finally turned to the guy and said, Get away from my wife. The guy mumbled something in Spanish, grabbed his towel, and bolted down the beach. And just like that, the family vacation was officially over. The beach went dead silent after that guy ran off. You know those moments when you can literally feel the air shift? That was it. Families around us were pretending not to stare, but you could tell every single one of them was locked in on the drama. David stood there, shaking, his fist clenching and unclenching. Avery kept reaching for him, her voice high and desperate. Avery, David, please let me explain. David, explain what, Avery? That you're sneaking around with another man while we're here with our family? Lucas just exploded. Lucas, you've been lying this whole time. I knew something was off, but this, on vacation with Dad right here. Are you serious, Mom? Grandma whispered, Oh dear Lord, and covered her face with her hands. My mom tried to play peacekeeper, stepping between everyone, but even she looked horrified. Me? I was frozen, just standing there watching the implosion I'd been dreading. Except now it wasn't a secret anymore, it was full-blown chaos in public. Avery started crying, saying it was a mistake, it didn't mean anything, I swear. But the way David looked at her, it was like he didn't even recognize the women in front of him. Finally, he said, We're done here, pack your things, we're going home. His voice was low but sharp, the kind of tone that leaves no room for argument. Avery tried to follow him as he walked back toward the umbrellas, but Lucas stepped in front of her. Lucas, no, you don't get to just chase after him like everything's fine, you've ruined this. Avery snapped, her tears turning to anger. Avery, don't you dare talk to me like that, Lucas, I'm still your mother. Lucas, then act like one. That shut her up. For a second, anyway. We packed up in record time, nobody talking. Grandma clutched my mom's arm the whole way back, muttering prayers under her breath. Lucas carried the cooler like he was punishing it. David walked ahead of us, not even looking back once. Back at the villa, things just got darker. David locked himself in the master bedroom. Avery banged on the door, sobbing, begging him to listen, but he didn't answer. My mom pulled me aside in the kitchen and whispered, Did you know about this? And that's when my stomach dropped. I hesitated, which was basically an answer. Mom's eyes widened. Mom, Victoria, you saw something before, didn't you? Me, I didn't know how to tell anyone, I thought maybe I was wrong. She just shook her head like she didn't even know what to say. Meanwhile, Lucas stormed out onto the balcony, pacing like a caged animal. I heard him muttering, I can't believe her, I can't believe she'd do this to Dad. That night, nobody slept. Avery cried in the guest room. David stayed locked away. Lucas sat on the balcony until sunrise. And me? I lay awake, knowing nothing about our family would ever be the same again. By the next morning, the villa felt like a war zone. No yelling, no plates smashing, just this heavy silence that made everything worse. I came downstairs to make coffee and found Lucas already there, sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. His eyes were bloodshot. Lucas, I don't know if I can even look at her again. Me, I know, I'm sorry you had to find out like that. Lucas, don't be sorry, be angry, she deserves it. Before I could answer, Avery walked in. Her hair was messy, eyes swollen from crying, but she still tried to pull herself together like nothing happened. She sat across from Lucas and whispered, Please, can we talk? Lucas snapped. Lucas, no, Mom, I don't want to hear your excuses. You've humiliated Dad, you've humiliated me. Avery, it wasn't supposed to happen this way, I didn't care. Lucas, then what? When we weren't on vacation, you keep sneaking around like it was no big deal. She flinched at that. Honestly, so did I. David came down the stairs right then. His face was stone like all the love had drained out overnight. He didn't even look at Avery. He just walked to the fridge, poured himself some water, and said, I booked flights, we're leaving tomorrow. Avery's voice cracked. David, please, we can work through this, we've built a life together. David cut her off. No, Avery, you tore that life apart, don't talk to me about working through anything. The silence that followed was brutal. Grandma shuffled in, clearly having overheard, and placed her hand on David's arm. Son, she said softly, come sit with me for a moment. He went with her like he couldn't stand another second near Avery. Mom looked at me then, and I could see it in her eyes she was torn between loyalty to her sister and absolute disgust. She whispered to me later in the hallway, Your dad has always been reckless, but this is unforgivable. That afternoon, Avery tried cornering me while everyone else was outside. Avery, Victoria, I know you saw me before, you've been judging me since day 2, haven't you? Me, because you're cheating on David, on vacation, what did you expect me to do, clap for you? Avery, you don't understand. He makes me feel alive again. David stopped seeing me years ago. Me, that doesn't justify destroying your family. She just stared at me like she hated me for saying it out loud. Then she muttered, You're just a kid. You don't know what marriage is like, and stormed off. The rest of the day was unbearable. Meals were silent. Lucas avoided his mother entirely. David packed his bags early. And I sat there wondering what would happen when we all got back home. Because this wasn't just going to end when the vacation did. This betrayal was going to follow us back and nothing would ever go back to normal. The flight home was the longest, quietest trip of my life. We barely spoke from the villa to the airport, and even on the plane everyone sat in this weird, tense silence. Lucas had his headphones in, staring out the window the whole time. David sat with his arms crossed, eyes shut but clearly not sleeping. Avery tried a few times to start small talk. Do you want some water? Should I hold the tickets? But nobody answered. Even Grandma kept her lips tight, which told me everything. When we landed back home, it was like a bomb went off. David didn't wait for Avery. He grabbed a suitcase, muttered something about calling a lawyer, and walked straight out of the terminal. Avery's face crumpled. Lucas refused to ride with her, so he came with me and my mom. The car ride was brutal. Lucas kept muttering under his breath, "She ruined everything, she ruined everything." My mom didn't even try to defend her sister this time, she just drove in silence, jaw clenched. The first week back was chaos. Avery tried calling David non-stop, leaving long, tearful voicemails. He didn't answer. She showed up at his apartment, banging on the door, but he wouldn't let her in. Eventually, word got out to the rest of the family. My uncle Mark, my mom, and Avery's brother called me and asked, "Is it true? Did Avery really?" And when I confirmed it, he sighed and said, "I always knew she was selfish, but I didn't think she'd go this far." Lucas stayed with David. He refused to go home with his mom. He told me one night on FaceTime, "I don't know if I'll ever forgive her. How do you forgive someone who destroys your family by choice?" I didn't have an answer. Meanwhile, Avery kept trying to spin it. She told my mom, "It was just a mistake. I felt neglected. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." But my mom finally snapped at her. "Mom, you didn't just hurt David. You humiliated your son, your mother, all of us, and you're still making excuses instead of taking responsibility." I'd never seen Avery cry like that. But honestly, I didn't even feel bad. Then came the real kicker. A couple weeks later, I was scrolling through Facebook and saw a tight photo of Avery with him, the guy from vacation. Smiling. At a bar. Like they were actually dating now. My jaw dropped. She hadn't even tried to reconcile with David before running straight into this guy's arms. When Lucas saw the photo, he texted me, "She chose him, over us." That broke my heart. Grandma, bless her, tried to reach out to Avery, but even she was furious. "You embarrassed me in front of strangers, Avery. At my age, I should not have to see my family torn apart like this." That's when Avery finally stopped calling. She knew she burned every bridge. The vacation was supposed to bring us closer. Instead, it split us in ways I don't think we'll ever recover from. It's been a few months since everything went down, and honestly, the fallout has been even worse than I imagined. Families always talk about moving on, but how do you move on from watching everything unravel on what was supposed to be a happy trip? David officially filed for divorce. He didn't even want to discuss cancelling or working through it. The day the papers were served, Avery called my mom sobbing, saying, "I didn't think he'd actually do it." My mom just told her, "What did you expect, Avery? You left him no choice." Avery hung up. Lucas has practically cut his mom off. He's living with David full-time now. He told me the other week, "I can't trust her, she put her own fun ahead of our family." I could hear the pain in his voice and it killed me. He was always a mama's boy and now he won't even answer her texts. Grandma doesn't even mention Avery anymore. At Sunday dinners, she'll talk about David, ask how Lucas is doing, even ask me about work, but if Avery's name comes up, she just shakes her head and says, "That girl made her bed." As for Avery, well, she's still seeing the guy. Yeah. The same dude from the beach. She's tried to post pictures of them together like she's living her best life, but the vibe is off. You can tell she's trying too hard, like if she floods social media with smiles, people will forget the wreckage she left behind. Spoiler, no one's forgetting. The worst part. She keeps sending these long, emotional texts to me and my mom. Stuff like, "You don't know what it's like to feel invisible in your own marriage," or "I needed someone to make me feel alive." She tries to make it sound like she was the victim. But I can't buy that. Not after watching David cry silently at the villa while she begged him to listen. Not after seeing Lucas crumble on that balcony. My mom struggles with it too. She told me, "She's my sister, I'll always love her, but right now I don't like her." That hit me hard, because my mom has always defended Avery no matter what. As for me, I feel torn. I hate what she did, and part of me never wants to forgive her. But another part of me still remembers the fun aunt who used to take me shopping, who made me laugh when I was a kid. Now I don't know who she really is. Sometimes, I replay the vacation in my head, the white villa, the blue ocean, the perfect weather, and it feels like some twisted dream. Like we stepped into paradise just to watch it rot from the inside out. If there's one thing I learned from this whole mess, it's that betrayal doesn't just break couples. It breaks families. And no amount of sunshine, cocktails, or palm trees can hide it once the truth comes crashing out.